Hey guys, Lone Hawk here, welcome back to the channel. On today's video I'll be covering how to navigate within the A-18C Hornet. This will include waypoints, TACAN and the ADF beacon. Alright, so let's get flying. Okay, so there are no controls that you need to have keybound to get navigation to work. You can keybind some to make your life a little bit easier, but I'm not going to cover them. So the first thing that we want to do is head over to one of the DDIs and we want to hit the menu button twice to go to the support page and then click on the HSI button, and that will take us to the HSI page where you'll be doing most of your changing and setup of the navigation systems within the aircraft. Also, I won't be covering every option within the HSI page, only the main ones that you'll need to use navigation within the aircraft. Now, I do want to make a quick side note. Waypoint 0 is the only waypoint that is automatically set every time you start the aircraft. Whether that be mid-air, on an airfield, or on a carrier, it will always display where you started from. Now with that, you can use that to help navigate back to what airfield you started from, and with a carrier, unless the carrier is moving, because the waypoint won't follow it. So just bear that in mind. So now we'll cover the symbology and we'll start with the HSI page. The HSI page is a top-down representation of the world that can be zoomed in or out using this scale button at the top. So at the moment we are set to a scale of 40, which is measured in nautical miles. You can change that between 5, 10, 20, 40, 80 and 160 nautical miles just by pushing the button. So we'll go through them and we'll set it back to 40 nautical miles. First we'll cover the symbology related to waypoints, as that'll be your main way of navigating through the game. So the main symbology that you'll notice is this 360-degree bearing compass that is used to tell you which direction your aircraft is flying, and is linked to the aircraft symbol here in the center, displaying its true speed and ground speed, and this line and diamond symbol which displays the actual heading to the compass that we're flying. So as you've noticed, north is not actually at the top, and the reason for this is that the compass will rotate around the HSI page while the aircraft and the aircraft heading symbol will stay still. So to read your bearing off of the compass, north represents either 360 degrees or 0, and then every either dot or number or letter represents a 10-degree increment. So you have north representing say 0, and then 010, 020, 030, east is obviously 090, and so forth. So at the moment we're on a heading of 048 as we're past the dot representing 040, but not quite at the dot representing 050. So now we'll cover the symbology related to waypoints, as this will be your main way of navigating. So first you have the symbol for the waypoint itself, and that is displayed by this circle with a dot in the middle of it. You also have this triangle with a circle and a dot in it, and this line, and they represent the heading to and from the waypoint, with the triangle the heading that you need to fly to get to the waypoint, and this rectangle being the direction away from the waypoint. Now when you do have a waypoint selected, you will see this information here in the top right. That displays the heading you need to fly to get to the waypoint, so 068, the distance to the waypoint, and how long it'll take to fly to the waypoint at your current speed. Now if you do fly away from the waypoint, this number will keep growing. Next we'll cover the symbology related to TACAN. Firstly, you have the TACAN symbol itself to display where the TACAN is in relation to you, which is this upside down Y symbol with a dot in it, and then you have your heading to the TACAN, which is a triangle with a T, and the direction away from the TACAN, which is this line here. You also have, like waypoints, the bearing to the TACAN, the distance from the TACAN, time to the TACAN in minutes and seconds, and then a TACAN name. So that is Al Mahid Airport. The next symbol you'll notice is these two little squares above north. That is for your autopilot heading hold. I'm not going to cover that as it is related to autopilot, and I'll cover that in my autopilot video. So next you have the ADF beacon symbol, which is this circle here. That represents the bearing that you need to fly to get to that beacon. Okay, so now that we've covered the HSI symbology, we'll head up to the HUD. So there is a lot of symbology on the HUD. I'm not going to cover most of it as it's not needed for navigation. So the first thing that you need to know is the heading compass, which is up here displaying your heading, and the direction that you're flying is displayed by this little triangle here. There is also this solid line here, which when you've actually selected either a waypoint or TACAN that you want to fly to, this line will be displayed to show you what heading you need to fly. As it's past 060, it'll just sit there until you get it within this 30-degree range, and when you want to fly to it, you just fly till it is lined up under your heading. The last symbology on the HUD related to navigation is down here in the right hand corner, and that displays your distance to. At the moment it is waypoint 2, but if you change your waypoint, that'll say either waypoint 1, 2, 3 and so on, or to a TACAN. So now that we've covered symbology, we'll cover waypoint navigation. This too represents a waypoint that you have selected, and you can change it with the up and down arrows. Now, even though you have waypoint 2 selected, you still need to tell the aircraft that you want to fly to waypoint 2. Now to do that, you select this WYPT key, which stands for waypoint, and once it's highlighted, that'll tell the aircraft that you want to fly to that waypoint, and will actually bring up this line here. So without that highlighted, there is no line there to tell the aircraft that you want to fly to that waypoint. Now, if you have multiple waypoints set up like I do, you can actually have them all displayed in a sequence. So if we go back to waypoint 0, head down here to SEQ1, which stands for sequence 1, and push that, you'll now notice that there is a dotted line displaying where all the waypoints are, with waypoint 0 circled. Waypoint 1's location is a little bit hard, but you can always tell wherever the line changes direction is where a waypoint is. Like you can easily see here for waypoint 2, and where it ends is wherever your last waypoint is, so our waypoint 3. So as I change the waypoint that we have selected, you'll see the dot move. So we'll go back to waypoint 2. Now with sequence, you can actually have more than one sequence set. So there is actually sequence 2, and sequence 3. So we'll leave it back on sequence 1. Now you'll mainly use sequence 1 as it is the only one that is auto set to whatever waypoints you have entered. But if you do want to manually change the sequence order, you come up here to data, and you'll notice down here is a sequence order. So while we're on sequence 1, you can see it's going from waypoint 0 to 1 to 2 and ending at waypoint 3. Now if I change it to sequence 2, you'll notice there is no waypoints there. You can enter the waypoints in any order that you want by hitting sequence USC, and that will bring up options on the USC, and to enter the waypoints you have to hit INS and then the waypoint that you want. So we'll go waypoint 3 first and hit enter, and that's now brought the 3 there. Now if we want to fly to waypoint 0 after that, you hit INS again, then 0 and then enter. And you can set a custom order for the waypoints to be set in. Now the Hornet can hold 14 waypoints, so you can't go above that. So we'll go back to sequence 1 and we'll have it selected, and then go back to the HSI. Now when we fly over waypoint 2, it will continue to stay on waypoint 2. To get that to change automatically to waypoint 3, you have to select auto down here. Now when you fly over waypoint 2, it'll automatically change to waypoint 3. So I will show you that now. So we will start to turn right. Just speed up to get there a bit quicker, and as you can see, their heading compass is moving while our direction needle is staying straight. So now that we have the waypoint line under our direction arrow, we will continue to fly this way for another 4.8 nautical miles to get to waypoint 2. And if you did notice, that was also changing in the HSI in the bottom right hand corner there. I'll just zoom in to make it a little bit easier. And you don't have to quite hit the waypoint. As you see, it started to move a bit to the left there, but as we went over it, it automatically changed the waypoint. Okay, so now we'll cover how to set up waypoints within DCS. For the A-18C Hornet, there are two ways you can set up a waypoint, either within the mission editor or within the aircraft itself. So as we're in the aircraft, we'll do that first. So to set up a waypoint, you need to come over here to data, and you can see all the waypoint information here. So at the moment, we're selected waypoint 3, and that's its coordinates there. So we'll change up to waypoint 4, which doesn't have any coordinates yet because we need to set them. Now to find the coordinates that you're gonna need, we'll go into the map. So all you do is, as you move your mouse around, you'll notice that the coordinates change. So you just find a point where you want the waypoint to be, hold the mouse still, and you can see the first part, which is the northing of 250431 and an easting of 545156. And to enter those coordinates, we just go back to the plane, we click on UFC, and we go position. Now I'm going to use different coordinates. So the first thing I want to do is enter my northing. And as you can see, 2, 6, 8 and 4 have letters, so north, east, south and west. And as we're entering a northing first, we hit the 2 to get the N to display, and then we'll type our coordinates. So I'm going to put in 250023 and then hit enter, and you can see that put my northing into the waypoint. Now we need to do easting. So again, you hit the number with the letter that you need, so E for easting, and we'll enter the coordinate of 545909 and hit enter. And that's now brought all those coordinates into the waypoint. So now if we go back to HSI, you'll actually see that for waypoint 4, there is a new waypoint symbol displayed. The other way that you can set waypoints is through the mission editor. So we'll go into there now. Now with setting waypoints within the mission editor, some of you may already have known this if you've played around with it a little bit, but for those that don't, you select your aircraft that you've got and you go into this bottom section here, which is the waypoint section. You have 3 options. You can either add, edit, or delete waypoints. So to add them, you just click add, and then you can just place them wherever you want. If you wish to edit a waypoint, you click edit and then select the waypoint that you wish to move because you didn't get it perfect. So we'll move waypoint 1 right over the top of that town. Now, if you wanted to delete a waypoint, you select delete, but it will delete whichever waypoint you had selected. So if the waypoint that you've got selected is 1, it won't delete the last waypoint, it will delete 1. So as you can see, what was waypoint 2 is now waypoint 1. You can also adjust the height for the waypoint, but that is really only needed if you're using GPS guided bombs. So I'm not going to cover that in this tutorial. Okay, so now that we've covered waypoint navigation, we'll cover TACAN navigation. So to set up the TACAN, you come over to the UFC and select the TACAN button. Okay, so now that we've covered waypoints, we'll cover TACAN. A TACAN beacon can either be at an airfield, on a ship, or on an aircraft. With an aircraft, it's usually only refueling planes. To find the TACAN channel for a ship or an aircraft, you need to set that up within the mission editor, but I'm not going to cover that in this tutorial. So to find it for an airfield, you just go to your map, zoom out, and you're looking for this symbol here, the Y with a dot in it, like it was on the HSI page. You just zoom in till you can read it, and that is channel 99. You can also click on the airport itself, and you'll notice under TACAN, it'll say 99 X-ray. There is also a Yankee option, but most of the TACANs within the game are X-ray. Now, not all airfields will have TACAN. As you can see, if we go to this airfield, TACAN, there isn't one. It seems to only be military bases, as TACAN is a military beacon. So now we'll go back to the aircraft and we'll enter that TACAN of 99. So to do that, we go over to TACAN, select it, and you'll be given a few options. So you have transmit and receive, which is for all ground and ship-based TACAN. So that'll give you the bearing and the range for the TACAN. If you are flying to an aircraft, you select A and A, and that basically just gives you the direction to the aircraft and not the distance. And you have your X-ray and Yankee options. The first thing we'll do is turn the TACAN on, and you can see that the USC now says on for TACAN. And that on the HSI, the TACAN bearing direction is moving around because it's searching for a TACAN. As we haven't entered one yet, it'll just keep going around. So the one that we wanted to enter was 99 and X-ray, so we have that selected, and you hit enter. And now you can see that TACAN search has stopped. It's found the TACAN. It is on a bearing of 055 for 43.9 nautical miles. Now, even though the TACAN is showing there, we haven't selected it yet. As you can see, there is no waypoint or TACAN line up in the heading compass on the HUD. So to do that, we hit the TACAN button here. Once that's highlighted, you'll notice that there is a line now to show which heading we need to fly to get to the TACAN, and that the TACAN distance has displayed there. Okay, so now that we have covered waypoint and TACAN navigation, the last navigation that you can use is the ADF beacon. So to find an ADF beacon signal, you need to go to your map. We will zoom out on the map and we will try to find one. There's one just here, this little symbol here. And we'll zoom all the way in until we can read the number, and it is on frequency 114.25. So you enter that as a radio channel into the aircraft. So we'll enter it on radio 2 by pulling this knob out. So it was 114.250, and you hit enter. Now that's just tuned the radio, and you can hear the beeping to say that we have linked up to that radio beacon. They do get affected by mountains and things like that. Same with the TACAN, so if there is a mountain in the way, that could be why you're not picking it up. Now to actually tell the aircraft that we want to fly that radio beacon, you have your ADF selector here. So you have 1, off, and 2. 1 represents radio 1 over here, so if you set it on that, you go to 1. If you set it on radio 2 like we did, you set it to radio 2. Oop, that was radio 1, radio 2. And as you can see, we are getting a lot of noise, so we need to squelch the radio. That's actually coming from radio 1. So to do that, you pull out radio 1 and hit the squash button, and that will stop it. And as you can see on the HSI page, there is the ADF beacon circle there. So if you just fly to that heading, that'll get you to the beacon. You aren't given an actual direction or range to the beacon like you are with the TACAN or waypoints. Also, you aren't given, like a TACAN or waypoint, the solid line to tell you which way to fly on your HUD. You have to use the HSI. So if I unselect TACAN, there is no line on the HUD. And that covers all the different ways that you can navigate within the A-18C Hornet. If you do have any questions, please leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you ASAP. So if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, as this does help me out a lot. So that covers all the different ways that you can navigate within the A-18C Hornet. If you did have any questions or would like a bit more information on anything I covered, please leave a comment below and I'll get back to you ASAP. And if you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And if you want to stay up to date with all my tutorials and videos, please hit the bell notification. And until next time, thanks for watching.